Hello, everyone. We're over here at the Morton County Mandan Correctional Center, and we're going to go in there and ask them about the drone. They said there was a warrant for the drone, and so what we know is there were several drones. Today was a non-violent direct drone action, and so not only was our drone up in the air, there was 4 other drones in the air and several other drones. So when we put the call out for drones, everyone's coming out, flying within their public right to fly drones, and in an area where there's clearly no buildings and nothing in the way. So we're going to go in. We're going to check out. We're here with Tom Goldtooth, and we're here with the camera crew and the guys that they took the drone, the vehicle out. All right, Tom, you ready to go in?
Warrant for the drone.
And you know, it was not the. There was several drones out. How do you get in here? It's just.
What time is
there we go.
6:45.
Mm-hmm.
Help you?
Yes, we're here to see an officer.
Okay, it's for Mandan PD or Sheriff's Department.
Mandan PD.
Okay, come on in to the lobby to pick up the phone by the elevator for their dispatch.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So I'm going to give them what I gave the police department was not my, I think I gave them my original ID, my tribal ID, which they seem to honor. You're over here in Mandan. Hello, sir. Are you the one we're supposed to see?
No.
So do we just, she told us to come in and then to wait for an officer?
That's not me, sir. I'm getting my car out.
She said, come in, get on the phone. Maybe it's right here. Emergency call report. Press 3. Morton County Jail. So, too bad you can't hear this. I'm going to try to put the phone to you so you can hear it. Yes, we got buzzed in to speak with an officer. We're standing in the lobby. Mandan. It's regards to a warrant for a drone. A drone. The officer would not give his name. He just said come to the Morton County Jail to pick up the drone. Myron. Dewey. Dewey. 425-263-2560. Thank you. So the officer's coming out to meet with us. Yes. And we'll see what's going on. This is where we were told that the drone would be, and this is where we were told to pick it up. Here's where we are right here. There was no warrant for my arrest, so they would have took me in right there on the spot if there was a warrant for my arrest. Right?
Yeah, and he threatened you with that statement, didn't he?
He
said something to that fact that there was a warrant.
He alluded to a a complaint for a criminal on the drone.
But he didn't have any evidence or what that criminal act by
He
drone would be.
didn't say what the criminal act was. He didn't elaborate whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you guys had seen the footage. You had seen the live footage of me asking them for direct names from the officers, and they would not give the direct names. And he had taken the drone. This is the gentleman's car he took the drone from. And so they need a warrant. He said he had a warrant, correct? And as you guys witnessed, when you go through the footage, you can see that. And let's see, has anyone, as the last few minutes, no arrest warrants, okay? New Mexico was watching. Is there anybody that was a lawyer that was watching? That's what we need there, right there on the spot. Anyone that's seen any of the, what should we file as well? Read North Dakota law. Well, in the North Dakota law for flying drones, that was within a limit, but it wasn't about flying. It wasn't about anything in that direction. What it was about was a previous action of, he didn't even say where it was at or who it was with. He just said that there was a warrant out for the drone. And this was not clearly not the drone. There was a non-violent direct drone action being done today.
What's up, guys?
How you doing?
Someone call.
I was told by the Morton Police Department to come over and pick up a drone today.
The Morton Sheriff's Department or
Morton
the
Sheriff's.
Mandan Police Department?
Was it Mandan?
Because we're city. Do you want to talk to the county or the city?
He would not be specific. He went in our vehicle. He wouldn't give us a name. He wouldn't give us any personal details.
Where do you go into your vehicle at?
What was
In the city of Mandan? Or?
No, it was
So you guys probably need to talk to a deputy, maybe?
I believe so. He would not give us any
Do you know what if
details.
he's wearing a brown uniform or a blue uniform like
A brown uniform.
Okay, so let me get a sheriff's deputy.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
He said that he had a warrant to go into the vehicle and grab the drone. I asked him to see the warrant, and he would not show me the warrant. I asked him to give me a name and a badge number. He would not give me a name or badge number. The difference is, as we were streaming live, there was over 100,000 people on at that time that witnessed this act as well. As he walked away, he just walked with the drone into the back and to put in the back car. The drone was perfectly intact before he did any of that, and we got that on film. And so, but the action, is that normal protocol?
I have no idea about
mean,
about a drone or a warrant
Let's
or nothing.
just hypothetically, is that normal protocol to give you no information to even who to contact?
Normally, if there's a search warrant, you get a copy of the search warrant.
Yes, and I asked him for a copy.
But let me figure out, this is, if
Okay.
it was Morton County, it's nothing to do with us, so let me go find the appropriate people and.
I appreciate
hopefully
that.
get your answers,
Thank you.
questions answered. Was this today or?
This was an hour ago, a little after 5 o'clock.
Okay, all right.
Trying to get some answers here. Is this the protocol for Morton? So it must be the sheriff, Morton County
Morton County Sheriff.
Sheriff's Department. Okay,
We were
so
in Morton County at the time. There were two other
Right.
county sheriffs represented.
Yes.
But it must have been the Morton County sheriff that,
Yes.
that took it. Yeah.
yes. How you doing?
Good, yourself?
Awesome. So I'm sure if I wasn't filming, things might have been a whole lot different in that area. So you guys, and he asked me, "Are you going to be filming?" I told him, "Yes, I'm going to be filming." And at that time, we had spotty cell service, so it was coming in, it's going out, it was coming in, it was going out. And I'm glad that at that moment you guys were able to witness at the end me asking him to see his warrant, to see his name, get his name badge and everything. And he told me just to leave. And it was in my right. We're on a county road. And all the way to back, there was no trespassing signs where we were at as well. And we're flying within our rights as drone flyers. Again, today was a nonviolent drone action to record the destruction of Mother Earth in many areas. So it's not just us. There was many people out there flying. And they could not identify this drone if they tried. I've seen about 4 other similar type of drones that were also in the air. So we'll see how it goes when they come out here. So in the meantime, let's get some of your questions going on. Yeah, there is a chunk missing. We also had the video ripped. That's why we got offline and then reposted again on several other ones. We don't have the officer's name. He would not give us the name. I'm glad you guys are with me too. They're watching. So let's see. Would you mind asking a question? I mean, I was asking you a question about a drone. So
Sure.
Can you give me your name, who you're with, and tell us a little bit about how you witnessed drones used today?
Yeah, so my name is Kareem Haj. I'm with a production company called Divided Films based out of New York City. We make socially conscious, social justice-oriented documentaries, television series, things like that. We were flying today. We were out by the roadside in St. Anthony, recording some of the destruction to the earth, as you just said, and yeah, I mean we were well within our legal rights. We've flown drones all over the country. We know our rights. We know when we're allowed to fly. When we know when we're well within the law, and this was true in all of those circumstances.
Yeah. And so, what are things like the officer saying? What do you think about that? Him saying that he had a warrant. What would you do in a similar situation where he used intimidation to come into the vehicle and take the drone?
Well, I'm not personally a lawyer, so I can't speak to the legality of what that person did. But it's my understanding that if a police officer says that they have a warrant, that they are legally required to show you the warrant.
Yeah.
So if you asked for the warrant and he didn't show you the warrant, then as far as I'm concerned, that's a legal search and seizure. I mean, I don't know how to think
Yes.
about it any differently than that. We're filmmakers. That's what we do. These are the tools of our trade. This is what we use in order to document everything, but especially injustice, especially when people are put in compromising positions. This is how we speak truth to power. This is what we do. So the fact that we found ourselves in that situation, and that you found yourself in that situation, and that you were on the brunt end of really nasty oppression in that regard, it's not okay. So we're here, and we're going to point a camera at it. We got plenty of cameras. If they take some cameras, we'll use more cameras, and we'll make sure that we get your drone back.
Awesome, thank you. And this is the tools he's using right here, the Canon C300, which we need this kind of lens. So if you guys want to donate a lens and let us borrow something like this, we can document it a whole lot better. You're also catching airplanes with this too, and their tail numbers, things like that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is a very long telephoto lens, so it really allows us to get in close on a police officer's face or a tail number on a plane or whatever we need to capture.
How about the higher security? Have you been able to document them from afar?
Yeah, definitely. We've come across, the MRAPs that are driving around on the county roads, the sheriff's trucks, and the sort of massive police presence, and so this is good in that it allows us to capture that, and it allows us to sort of stay back from it, and that works really well in that regard.
I have a question. Is there any evidence you picked up of private security around?
Well, now that you are mentioning it specifically, and now that there was an incident, I mean, we're definitely going to go back through all the footage and see what we can find. Those things drones fly so high in the air. It's sometimes you don't know until you go back through the actual footage and really carefully look at what's in there. But I think that we've used them to great effect before, both sort of like aesthetically and also to document things that are going on that really shouldn't be going on. So,
I know the past 2 months that there's been a step up of these other vehicles that we find are private security vehicles, not the Dakota Access pipeline vehicles, corporate vehicles. So I'm just wondering if you saw any evidence.
I gotta think about it. It's interesting. You guys are so much more attuned to it, obviously, because you're out here. So I don't know that I would immediately recognize them as different. So I think I would really have to look back and try and see whether that was the case. But if you guys are seeing them, then I'm sure they're out here.
Yeah, since you operate drones,
Not verbally.
there's different state regulations, but how would you feel when they say that there's harassment of workers by drone activities? That seems to be just really funny to me, because most of the intelligence that I've seen that drones are doing isn't like right in the face. They're way up higher, and a lot of the camera activity with these drones are really excellent. They have good light filters, and so have you ever come upon that, to where a company is trying to say that their workers were being harassed by drones and then report that to the law enforcement, who then are saying they're reacting to a complaint of harassment to workers.
Yeah. You know, we have, as part of of the work that we've done, that I've done in the past, flown drones all over the country in all different situations. And universally, the people who get upset about drones are people who have something to hide, are people who are doing something that they shouldn't be doing, or something that they don't feel good about, or something that they would prefer that the world was not going to see. So, I mean, to me, this question of worker harassment is a little bit crazy. I mean, you look at most drone footage, and to the extent that you can see a person on the ground, you can't make out any distinguishing features. You can't make out their face. And I think that the water protectors have repeatedly stated in many different ways that this is not a targeted attack against any particular worker in the oil and gas industry. I think that if you guys are monitoring their activity, you're probably doing it in a way that takes care not to point out the particular identity of any particular person. And so that, to me, that's just another tool in the intimidation arsenal, and a tool in an oppressive system that is designed to keep you uninformed, to make sure that you don't understand what's going on. So that's how I look at that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm here. That drone that was taken by the law enforcement here is hard to get. We have to raise funding for it. It's owned by the Indigenous Environmental Network, and Digital Smoke Signal, because of their expertise on drone, is using it. So we're happy that Myron wasn't arrested, but here we have a drone. And what are the rights of our drone?
Yeah.
And we need that. We need that to document and to make a case here of the harassment and perpetrator type of mentality of the law enforcement here. So definitely, I like to hear what you're saying, because you have a lot of experience and about this, and so we're here to retrieve our drone, get it back. There's a lot of we're lucky to have that money to get it in order to try to balance the information that we need to protect the sacredness of our water and Mother Earth. We were out there taking footage of that beautiful Heart River ecosystem, aquatic system there. And there is DAPO activity down there. And so the sheriffs came and harassed us as well for trying to document the beautiness of what's there in the water and the sacred site area. So that harassment was there too.
Yeah. I mean, my understanding, and Myron, I've seen you post about this as well, is that many of these, that you've been using drones in large part to document the situations in which the Energy Transfer Partners are actually operating outside of the law, when they're actually doing construction that the federal government has told them to stop doing, right?
Yes.
And how are we as citizens, as people, both citizens of tribal nations or citizens of the United States, how are we to keep track of what these organizations are doing and to report when they are breaking the law if we don't have tools like drones, if we don't have tools like cameras? I mean, that's it. A drone is an equalizing tool. It puts us in the air. It gives us perspective. It allows us to see what people are doing. It allows us to document what people are doing. And I think that really scares the powers that be.
That it does. Not only that, we GPSed in that area 16 miles from the river. They were clearly working, so that was a Facebook Live post. They were clearly working within the 20-mile zone, easy.
Yeah.
And so we had another documentation where it's 24 miles. Okay, that was outside. They were working. But they're being like little worker bees right now. So they're being halted on the far end, but they're working farther down. But no one has defined where, definitely they have not defined the 20 miles. So we had to do this definition. What is the 20-mile zone? And by GPS, Google, we're using Google and analytics and GPS to do the latitude and longitude from drone footage, snapshotting from A to B, which is using the same satellites that the federal government uses.
Yeah.
And Google uses.
Yeah.
And so this is what's being held up in the court of law.
Yeah. Well, good. I mean, you guys are doing the work.
Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. So we're still here waiting for them to come, and I'm going to give them one more call and ask them what's going on. So we'll see what's going on here. Is it sheriff, right? Morton Sheriff. Yes, we're still outside waiting for the Morton County Sheriff. We're Mandan or Morton? Morton, yeah. So she's got a number for him. Can you pull up the? Okay, go ahead with the number. Hold on. 328 area code. 701 is area code.
701 is there?
Yeah. Hold on 1 second. 701 is area code.
Okay.
Okay, 328.
Yep.
Go ahead. 9921.
701
701 328
9921.
9921. Okay. Well, we just saw an officer that was going to come out with
The sheriff.
the sheriff.
Someone from the sheriff's department.
Yes, he said he was coming in. He walked into the door and says, "I'll go get him." We're here. This is where we were told to pick up our drone. Was here. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're good to go, huh? Yes. Oh, you guys going? Okay.
So there was a little correction here. Mark, who's watching live,
Yeah.
just pointed out that the term that the officer used.
Okay.
Mark, who's watching live, is pointing out here that the term that the officer used was that the drone was involved in a criminal act of intimidation, not a criminal act of harassment.
Oh, okay.
So a little correction there, intimidation rather than harassment.
And how did he know it was that drone?
We don't know.
Yes,
He
he
didn't
didn't
tell
know.
us anything else whatsoever about that.
Yes.
That's all he said to us.
So we need to let him define that,
Right.
the officer.
Yeah.
Is there a plug-in over here? You guys got a plug-in out here? Oh yeah, I got one right here.
Normally just in the. Is this who we're gonna talk to?
Oh. Tom, is there anything else we need to know about what's going on about this? That you just want to fill up about the Dakota Access Pipeline and EIN's involvement here, and just anything that people need to know?
Well, we just that, for Indigenous Environmental Network, as well as many other Native organizations and non-Native support groups, IEN is here as a support group, providing support in organizing strategic development, media work. We have a media center up on what's called Facebook Hill, and so we brought in a lot of Native media people, experts, like Myron here, for an example, with digital smoke signals. And we put up a lot of video content, as well as starting to do press releases. Try to beat the press releases that the county puts out, that the city of Bismarck puts out, the news media. We want to beat them to the punch and put out, the real news, the truth. And we're always having to put a lot of energy just trying to confront this counter narrative that we need to be on top of. So that's been kind of our role here in doing intelligence around, just what's really happening out there on the Dakota Access Pipeline. Is really critical, having that information and feeding that to the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe, as well as other strategic tribal nations that are also building their case. So it's this work that we're doing today, for an example, using drone and gathering information. We're trying to even the playing field. It's very uneven right now. Whenever we try to get information, whether to document these special cultural resource sites, these protective sites that need to be documented with coordination with the tribal people, are the impacts, possible impacts to water and the environment. We need data for that. And right now, that whole corridor, 20 miles on each side of the river, is very critical. That's part of that corridor that the Standing Rock Sioux Tribe has filed an injunction for. And so we're kind of waiting and see on this as well, on the status of that injunction and the appeal process. But beyond that corridor too, that 20-mile corridor, there's a lot of easements. It's all about easements and right-of-ways that have been already secured by the company, forcing and intimidating private landowners. And we just met one of them today, in fact, when we were confronted by the county sheriff about our drone activity that we were involved with. And the private landowner came up. And this was very remote, rural area in way west of Mandan, Bismarck. But he came up because he saw the sheriff, the lights way out in this area, and he came up there. And after the sheriff left, he said, hey, keep on doing what you guys are doing. He says, as a private landowner, he says, I don't like that pipeline coming through. He's not right in that easement corridor. He's right next door to it. And this area we were at is the Heart River, just a very beautiful area. It reminds me of the Grand River area in the region. But he said, keep on doing what you're doing. He said, that needs to be protected, and you folks are protecting it. So I know that there's concerned non-native ranchers and farmers in this area that probably don't have a mechanism to speak out like this person. But it was totally harassment that we experienced today. The sheriff was trying to get information on what our activities were there with the drone work that we were doing, whether or not, he did say he didn't accuse us, but he said there's accusations of drone harassing workers. And these are areas, again, they're not clearly defined. Most of the drone activity that we've been involved with and other support groups is to get information to try to, provide that balance in getting data. There's no harassment of workers. So where he was going, I don't know. We were lucky to be released, even though we weren't, I don't think we were that close, but we were being detained. We were detained for 30 minutes. And he was talking to his superior, and it sounded like a company was back there also. They're trying to consult with the company. The company filed a complaint of drone activity harassing the workers, as if, and again, we're trying to even the playing field and protecting the sacredness of Mother Earth, the sacredness of the water, these cultural areas that are very significant and important. They're sacred. And, who's really doing the harassment and the decimentation, decimenting these areas is the company. And the gall and of them trying to look like they're victims, That's what really concerned me. So that's a little background of today. We're ending today right now. And here we're just trying to winterize our camp. And I got to get back, and we're burning daylight here, just to tie down our camp and protect it from the wind and things like that. So I got to get back and do that. But so it's good to report out here on Myron's information system. So hopefully we can talk to some people about what's going on here. Thank you. Hello?
No,
Not yet.
no, not yet. A drone was taken from us, and we were told that they had a warrant, and I asked to see the name of the officer. He would not give me any details. He just kept saying deputy, and then he said he had a warrant to take the drone. He didn't really know what other drone. There was several drones in the air all through the area.
Okay.
So he said to come here.
It's pertaining to an incident earlier in the day, over with the security that's parked out there.
Yeah.
Okay, where your drone was flown over it. So what happens is there's probable cause to seize the drone at this point, okay? So it's seized in evidence, and then there'll be a warrant issued before we look into the video card, if there is one on there. Okay?
Could you just take the video card? Because you don't need to keep the journal. I'm concerned because, you know, we're a nonprofit organization, educational organization, and finding $2,000 to buy that drone, you know,
Okay.
that's hard to raise that money for that. You know, corporations can dig up money like that, you know. So can you just keep the card and we can pick up the
That,
drone?
it's already in evidence, so I have no control over that at that point. We'll talk to the state's attorney on Monday and see what we can do.
So do we need to also file something about, because, you know, there's guys out there with cameras and harassing people as well, and we do have documentation that they were there. And so that is also evidence.
Okay. Well, there's a whole, and we'll watch the video on that, but there's a whole list of FAA regulations.
Oh, yeah?
Okay?
Very
You
aware.
can't fly, you know all the
Oh, yeah,
FAA
I've been very,
regulations?
I do
Okay.
have a copy of North Dakota's FAA regulations. It was in line of sight, it was not above 400 feet, and it was not over a large crowd, which is
Okay.
the North Dakota
Right.
laws for flying drones. Plus, it was out in the middle of an area where there was no line of sight of any of that in large crowds.
Okay.
So, but also you had two guys that were identified with cameras, and when they come off, they do use intimidation tactics behind people, drive behind people, so we wanted to see who these people were.
Okay.
They did not identify
Well,
themselves.
like I said, I haven't seen the video. I'm not gonna go in and discuss that. I mean, that's
Okay.
what a courtroom's for.
Okay,
But I
before-
am telling you what the process is, and the process is on Monday, if we get a warrant, okay, then we'll review the video and see if any laws will be
Okay.
broken. If there's no laws broken, you'll get your camera back, okay, or the drone.
So you're
okay?
saying that there is currently no warrant?
There's no warrant right now.
Okay, good.
No.
So who was the officer?
The other option to getting a warrant, if you'd like to give consent, if you feel like you didn't break any laws, we could watch the video based off your consent. If you don't want to give consent, that's totally fine. That's your right. We'll get a warrant, and then it's up to a judge.
Okay.
If a judge denies the warrant, I'm sure you'll get your drone back by Monday.
So
Okay?
the officer, do you have his name
The officer,
that took the drone?
I don't know who that was.
But-
No,
But you have the drone, you said?
we have the drone.
Okay,
yes.
he didn't write a statement on who his name was? We got it on video who his
There's-
name was.
There's police reports and all that,
Okay.
that will be available to your attorney, if there's even charges brought, okay? Like I
can-
said, we'll know a lot more Monday. If there was, if
The good thing is this.
if the video's
Yeah.
reviewed and it was found that, let's say you were operating it and you were in violation of, let's say, disorderly conduct or some sort of harassment, then they'll probably issue a warrant out for your arrest at that time, okay?
So.
But I don't wanna make
Yeah,
any,
I
jump
know.
into any conclusions, cause I
but
didn't
let
see
me-
the
Let me
video.
ask you this, though.
Okay,
The officer said he had a warrant, and we've got two witnesses there, right? He said, I have a warrant to take this drone.
okay. I don't know
But-
what he said or didn't say.
Well, I
I'm
can
just
sh-
telling
shall
you
we
what
show
I know.
We can show you the video.
Maybe he was mistaken, okay?
I asked
The
him,
officer
yes.
that stopped you wasn't necessarily involved in seeing what happened earlier in the day with the security guards, okay? They're just acting on information,
Okay. So there were several white drones, blue
Yes,
drones,
there
gray
was.
drones in the air.
But it was whatever was seen was live streamed from
Yeah.
your.
Oh, you can log in from any account and
Okay.
live stream.
And that's why we have to investigate
Yeah.
to find out,
Yeah.
okay?
But there was no denying that. But what I'm asking is, the officer directly said, I have a warrant
Okay.
to take this drone, but I only want to know, you already seen him, you know who he is, your colleague. What was his name and badge number?
I don't know who it was, okay?
You got a picture, right?
Yeah, we got a picture, show him the picture. I know you know your colleagues.
What's the process legally for them to go into a vehicle to get this kind of equipment? And he
That you
he indicated
discuss with
that he
your
had a
attorney.
warrant, so was it within the
Yeah.
law that he was able to do
Yeah.
that? without a warrant?
There's information the drone was involved in criminal activity.
So here's
Okay.
here's the officer.
Okay. I'm not disclosing who that is.
So
at
you
this time.
you do know who he
I
is,
know
though?
who it is.
Yes, you do know
But
who
he wasn't involved. If he mistakenly said
Oh,
there was a warrant,
I've asked him several times, let me
Okay.
see your warrant, you cannot take that. You cannot,
Okay.
you do not have the right to
We
go
are
in the
not
vehicle.
gonna sit here and discuss the legalities of how we seized your drone, okay?
Okay.
You need to talk to your attorney about that.
Okay.
I feel right now, we had information that that drone was used in a criminal act, we can seize it. We are not gonna view any evidence until we have a warrant.
And so we're clear, that criminal act was when it was videoing the two vehicles up on the North
Correct.
Hill above.
Correct,
the-
I know you guys were up videoing up northwest in the
yeah.
area where it was seized. That I have no knowledge of.
Okay.
It was pertaining to the incident with the security.
Where we videoed the
Correct.
How
the
do
two
we,
vehicles.
yeah, how do we know they were security?
Well,
How do
that-
you know they were security?
Because that was reported to us.
Okay, was it Dakota Access Pipeline
I don't
Security?
know. That I don't know.
So what's wrong with that?
so how can-
we flew a drone over?
Okay.
Took a picture of two vehicles that were
Again,
that were
I
They
have
were
not
suspicious.
seen the video.
Okay,
Okay.
the video was suspicious with two guys that looked like peeping toms overlooking people that
They
were
were
down
on,
there.
okay. They were on their own property, okay? Were they not?
I don't know, you're not disclosing on who they are, you're just saying they're
Well, I
security.
said they're security.
Yeah, security for who?
They're DAPL security.
Okay,
All
they're
the security
DAPL,
is
okay.
DAPL security.
Okay,
at
so
this
that's
point.
DAPL property,
Yes, it is.
so they also own the airspace there.
Okay. We're done here.
Okay.
All right, you need to discuss this with your attorney. We'll go through the legal channels, okay? And if the legal channels say that you need to get your drone back, then you get your drone back. If the legal channels say that you committed an offense and we can prove that, and the judge signs off on it, then that's what it is, okay? So we're just, we're conducting an investigation. Obviously, I don't know the answers right now, that's why there's an investigation to be had.
Well, it's good, we know they're DAPL security. And that's, that concerned me that they're watching a bunch of kids, they're watching people and families with elders, with high-powered, they look like a peeping Tom sitting up there. And so when we're seeing that, yeah, we are concerned on who is that up there.
Okay.
It's not okay.
All right, well, now I hope you know that why we seized the drone and that
What I like
that's
to-
gonna be okay
yeah,
till
how-
Monday, okay, till we
how-
get the legal process going.
How do I write a report on that? Because that's why we're.
You can,
So that-
you can, the best thing you can do, cause there is an investigation, if you'd like, you don't have to, but if you wanna write a statement on what you did and why, you flew this drone and your concerns like you're trying to tell me, write it down, bring it in on Monday, and we will include it. Cause we always want, when we give charges, we always want a possible defendant to give their side of the story, cause sometimes it's legitimate. So if you want to come in and give a verbal statement, you can. If you want to come in and give a written statement, you can. If you don't want to say anything further, that's your right too.
Okay, so what I would like is some paperwork before I leave here to show the judge, show the officer, and
Do
the,
you guys have just a copy of the evidence form where it was put into evidence?
I don't know, I have to check, I'm not sure where that's at. right
we'll,
now.
we'll wait here for you. Can you go check that? So
Well, I can
have-
check, but the officer hasn't even came back to the office yet, to my knowledge, so I don't.
Well,
think it would be
CB is
here.
pretty good, there was,
Okay.
we're willing to
Let me
wait.
go on and check.
Thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, just before you go, have you guys already scheduled the hearing is the hearing in which the judge is going to decide on the warrant to view the footage that you had mentioned?
There's
That's
not-
gonna happen on Monday, no,
That
it's
doesn't,
over the weekend.
it's not a hearing that they set up.
Okay.
It's just something that gets signed by a judge in the judge's chambers.
I see, okay.
Is there a way I can be there so I can say, hey, I'm here?
That's
And then,
not how it works with that,
So you
but
just-
basically, we present an affidavit to the judge on what the circumstances were, and they either sign it or don't.
He
At
goes on
what
it,
point
yeah.
you would have to rebut it is when you have your attorney after the fact.
well, you're gonna issue a warrant before I even get to sit there in front of the judge, which is not okay if I'm
You
personally.
could certainly contact
Yes.
your attorney at this point, okay?
Well-
And ask him what your recourse is,
Mhm.
okay?
Okay, well,
I'm
wait.
just telling you what the normal channels usually are.
Are you with the county or with the?
I'm with the
Brandon?
city.
The city?
Yep.
But you're familiar
Bismarck.
with this
Yep.
case, it seems, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah,
Mm.
so.
You said that is that they may not need to go follow through with the warrant if, for example, there's some volunteer effort to show the content. of what's on there, right?
Yeah.
How can that be done without this communication with either the officer who took it or the judge or the clerk, and saying that in goodness and good faith that we're okay with that?
Typically, because this is gonna be assigned to an investigator, so if you wanna sign over consent, if that's what you're saying right now, I can let him know that, and then.
It's good to know what the options are, is what I'm
You
saying.
could come in and talk to him on Monday, and we'd have you sign a consent form, to view the footage, and then, go from there. But it's gonna be ultimately up to them on how they proceed with it.
What time?
You know, we wanna
what time
give
they
you-
open up on Monday?
8, they
8?
should be here by 8. I can talk to the investigating officer, but, you know, we want you guys to get, you know, document what you need to document. I ain't scared of drones at all. I mean, there's 1,000, cell phone videos going on during these incidences, so.
We got a lot of
I
evidence.
mean, yeah, we got ours going, you guys got yours going, and people driving by got theirs going.
Well,
You
the
know,
officer,
everybody's got evidence, but.
he knew who I was by name, you know, and
Yeah.
he asked me if I was filming live, and I told him yes, I was filming live, and that's for my own protection, because I've witnessed when I don't film live, there's a completely different interaction with officers there.
Okay.
So I lately have been doing filming live every event like we are doing now. But I just want to appreciate you. So you know the investigating officer, right? So that's good that you know him. What's his name, so we have that for record.
Well, there's a couple different people that might investigate it. I don't, it hasn't been assigned yet. Okay, it's the weekend, these type of people ain't
But
working.
he knew me by name. If you're saying he's an investigative officer.
No, the officer that, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I don't wanna,
Okay.
I'm.
Hey, you know, this is crazy because we
Okay,
got no
the-
names.
The officer that took the drone had nothing to do with the investigation. He was asked by me to take the drone.
Okay.
So an investigation could be conducted, okay?
Okay, so if he
So-
has a drone, you have a drone, are you gonna take their drone too?
Again, it was signed in under your Facebook account, so,
Well, how would you know?
because we watched it.
Okay, you watch my
Right.
Facebook account.
Well,
You know.
wherever
Yes.
you.
I know, I got you. So, okay, that's
What
all you
do we
had,
have?
yeah.
It'll be here in about 10 minutes.
Okay.
If you wanna give us 10 minutes, hang out
Okay.
here. we'll be
Okay,
back.
thank you. I appreciate you giving us information on that. So, yeah, on the narration, you heard me saying we're going within the legal parameters of North Dakota law when we're flying the drone as well, right?
I heard
Yeah.
everything you said during this.
All right, that's good. So you guys know, every time I'm flying the drone, I'm sharing with you guys that this transparency is like water. And if we're flying under the North Dakota proper laws that are down, and which is 400 feet off the ground, which we were not 400 feet off the ground, the actual drone is set to not go above 400 feet. It is in front. These guys are, and as you can witness with their high power cameras, when we look at the footage before, their high power cameras are in the front and they're looking at an area which I showed from the side. And you cannot fly your drone over many peoples and crowd. So here's what we're looking in 10 minutes. We'll see what's going on. We're able to get some information. This was the officer, the city officer,
Yeah.
clearly out of his jurisdiction over there, who is issued to get the drone. But since he knew me by name, he did not have the warrant in yet. He did not. He's watching my Facebook profile. We know you guys are watching, and that's why we're following the parameters of the law. And so we're here at the Morton County Jail. We're on the first floor. We're going to wait for some information to come in and see if they can provide that document, which they're going to probably draft up right now because they did not have it at the time they took the drone. And so this is clear for nonviolent direct drone action for environmental justice is what we're using these drones for, is to show when you got two people up there who do not identify themselves as any type of security or anything, but they do follow behind people, this is what we have to do to show who these people are. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to wait here and let you guys see what's going on. In the process, I'm going to ask some questions. I'm hoping you guys that were listening, now we know who the officer was. So let's go through a few from right here. I'm going to start with Elizabeth Ann. The lens can be rented also. Rented. Keep documenting for all that goes in the court. Will do. Yes, the officer did not properly identify himself. For those of you who are watching, you know, this is something new for us when we're getting officers who do not document or do not provide documentation, do not provide their name, and it just doesn't seem right. Yes, we do need a paper trail. Well, this officer says he was the assigned officer, right? So we're looking at, what did you think about what he said? Can you guys?
Right here?
Yeah, what did you think about?
Well, I thought
what
it
you
was really
witnessed?
interesting that he said the officer was asked by me, his words were by me,
yeah,
to take the drone.
because he is a city officer and the incident didn't happen in the city.
Yeah.
And that officer was
It
a
happened in the
county officer.
And was he is that in the county, Cannonball area?
Where it happened, that
North
was.
of the river is
that
in the
was-
county.
Yeah, so we have to look at what county that is also over there, right?
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
I think it's probably.
But clearly out of the city jurisdiction.
Yeah, clearly at the city jurisdiction, so
Yeah.
if he's gonna write it, then it has to be within city jurisdiction. We're assuming.
Yeah.
Let's see what some of our people are saying.
Okay. So what a friend of mine is saying is that the Cannonball Ranch purchase allowed them, Dapple Security, to sit there and watch us on private property.
So it's not Dapple property like he's saying.
Well, I'm personally not clear on who the owner is, but,
Okay.
but I think that's correct. I mean, let's check in with our audience here and get that checked out. I believe it was Dapple, is that right, Tom? Was Dapple the ones that purchased that property north of the camp?
Yeah, it's a question of, you notice how the Mandan City Police, who, first of all, it was very interesting to me that they are exercising their jurisdiction on something that is a county issue, you know. But anyway,
Right.
when the question about airspace or, area above the land where DAPL has easement, they've gained easement. This right of way that they legally obtained and threatened, they basically threatened the landowners with an eminent domain if they did not negotiate and accept the money. I mean, that's a big issue in all these pipeline cases. Enbridge, TransCanada, I mean, it's the issue. But they do have easements around that corridor, the company, the corporation. So that's why if anyone's walking in that easement area, that's where they file charges and, report it to law enforcement.
Right.
We know that.
And do we know if it was a legal purchase that Dakota Access made of that property? Or was there some question as to whether that was a legal purchase or not?
There's some question, well, that corridor is separate from the purchase of the ranch.
Okay.
Okay. But the question is about a drone flying in airspace. Okay. This is a broader issue that we deal with around property rights. One of the issues that we're a stickler on with the U.S. colonial system in Canada as well is this whole property right regime.
Yeah.
Basically, them granting corporate rights as well. So here again, we have an issue in Indian country where a corporation has more standing than our own sovereign tribal nations, our First Nations in Canada. Time and time again, we have that issue. That's a big issue in the tar sands. Concerned First Nations, Cree, and Dene have to fight to have legal standing, and it costs a lot of money to litigate this. So here we have a corporation that has legal standing to put the claim on property right issue. So, the question and the contradiction in all this is that they may be claiming also they have airspace rights. That needs to be checked out, definitely. So if there's some folks out there that know about this whole property right regime concerning easements that are secured by a corporation like Energy Transfer Partners, which is the legal entity that owns Dakota Access Pipeline, you need to check that out. Because it seems like that's what the officer here said. Because obviously the drone was not walking on the ground.
Correct.
It was not crawling on the ground, violating the private property of Dakota Access. The operator wasn't doing that either. So how was it violating some kind of a law? And why is that they need to investigate this and keep the drone as evidence? I mean, these are some questions that have to be asked. Unfortunately, Monday is coming up. I know some people that are tied to this right now, have other things that wanted to get back home or back to their organizations on. But you may have to be witnesses, on this situation. And it sounds like they're also wanting to, file some charges against you, Myron. Definitely.
Right.
I'm concerned about that with the Indigenous Environmental Network because, we are also working with you, invited you as part of our team. So we got to make sure that the rights of our team are also being protected here. I hope that the civil rights attorneys with the National Lawyers Guild, I'm sure that they will represent you on this and be there for you. As far as specifics on the laws around operation of a drone here in North Dakota, we need some help on that. And if a drone is flying within the regulations, so much feet above, but is that a violation of the easement and that private property zone of this corporation? I mean, that's insane. Definitely, they're overstepping something here, and they're just trying to harass Myron here, who has been documenting all this. And it showed they somehow, as public servants, they have enough time to review all your content,
Facebook videos.
your Facebook videos,
Right.
We're all putting up Facebook videos, and they must have somebody assigned, if not this officer himself,
Well, he
as a
witnessed.
public servant.
He said he's seen it.
He's seen it himself.
Yes.
I mean, is that the best interest of taxpayers' money, these public servants like that? Spending their time sifting through all this social media content, Facebook
Sounds like it's in the best
videos,
interest of people
web
access.
streaming that we're all doing. Definitely, I think that's wrong. And what are they looking for? What are they looking for? When we're just trying to even out the playing field and trying to get information, to save the sacredness of our water, sacredness of Mother Earth, protect these sacred sites and defend the rights of our indigenous peoples, and we don't have information. So we heard from a previous person here that works with media that uses drone, and this is definitely harassment against us. This is definitely an issue that we need to stay tuned in and stay on top of. And I think we definitely will need some legal assistance here and some advice. And I'm going to talk to one of the legal defense team here at the camp, and they're working with the National Lawyers Guild. So definitely they're going to be on top of Myron's rights here and make sure that his rights are not going to be violated. But there's some gray areas that we need to have a look at concerning this drone activity.
I agree. So they should be out here pretty quick, and we're going to ask for the paperwork. We're going to see if they have that paperwork, and then see what we can do from there. Many of you guys know I'm a professor, and I work with youth, and they're going to issue me a warrant for harassment. And
I actually have a correction on that, Myron. So here's word by word what happened. A friend of mine typed this out from the video today, your live video. So he says, we are investigating a crime that you were involved with earlier today, the stalking of some security guys down at the north camp, north of the main camp there. We're going to cut a warrant or issue a summons of complaint later this week. We're seizing that as evidence of the crime. You said, can I see the warrant? He said, you can talk to the state's attorney office about that. My name is Deputy, and you can contact the Morton County Sheriff's Office. And the term they used was intimidation, that the criminal act that your drone was involved with was intimidation of this DAPL security, not harassment. So that's a slight correction. I mean, I think it's pretty similar.
Yes.
But what are your thoughts on that? Is intimidation different from harassment?
Well, intimidation is what we're witnessing with the Dakota Access Pipeline outside. When they follow our cars right outside of that fence, they come out. And we
Yes.
are concerned because this white car that was there is seen driving behind the car, seen taking pictures at the camp. That is a form of intimidation. And when we see that, we have guys stationed at the front that are security that are making sure our people are safe. And when we see these guys, to me, they're peeping Toms coming along. They're whoever, we don't know who they are.
Right.
And they don't have an identity. They don't have a name. They're wearing bulletproof vests. This is a big concern. So when we're here trying to document from our point of view, we actually have to level the playing field. Dakota Access Pipeline does not own that airspace. They'd have to prove that they own the airspace, and I'm not even sure if the purchase of that land, which you guys know, they jumped 15 miles ahead and desecrated that land, which is what we documented in September 3rd, back when they used their officers, their hired security to go through and use attack dogs. That was the area. We have protectors there making sure they do not come back. And so when we're seeing this, yes, we were there to protect ourselves. And these are bad guys. They don't have a badge. They don't have a name. They don't give a name when you ask them. Just like the officers are practicing that same tactic. They would not give their name. They cover their names on their badge. And then I ask them, is that illegal? Yes, it is illegal. They need to show their names. And so they're piecing information along. They're writing the law as they go along. And I'm sure this is going to be a huge wave across the country on what the Morton County Police Department and several agencies that are combining that we witnessed are doing. I also asked of a BIA, you guys are watching. You are watching what's happening to your people. You need to get and demand a ride-along. I also asked them. And so when you guys are riding along with these guys, you need to document these things to make sure your Indian people are taken care of on both sides. And so, with that, you're not going to be able to sleep in those nice hotel rooms over at Prairie Nights. You guys are in every other room. Put those dollars to protecting us. Ride along with them as public officers and witness what's going on and document what's going on. You guys need to get over there, get out of that $2.25 million trailer you got parked on the other side of the res, and get over there and start riding with these guys and witnessing what's happening. Your people need you over there. We need you to stand on our side and protect us on both sides of this law. So I'm challenging you guys, BIA, to get out there. You federal agents that are there, I seen you out there and I document you out there. Get out there and document these guys that are driving around with no plates on their vehicles.